Hi there, this is Helen Tarrant again from Uplift. Here with our whole team. Wow, it's massive. Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today where I'm going to share with you, if you haven't seen part one of my video, please watch the previous one from last week. But if you have, this is part two of what you will be like for no money down deals. So if you're coming from a residential space, you will find that you could get some joint venture partners where they're the money partner and you're the deal partner. And being the money partner, they're putting in the money whether you're buying the property outright or whether they're putting in the deposit and you're financing it, or you're giving them a set amount of money return from them putting in the deposit. So let's say you're giving them a 10% return, they put in the 600,000. That over a year, that's about 60,000 or so. But if you generate more than that, then obviously that makes you give them that 60,000 and you might keep the other 60,000, or you might keep the other 30,000. So it's all about the equitable split, right? So I'm going to share with you a couple of properties, and I'm going to share with you why these are the ideal properties that I will personally be looking for if I was to do a joint venture deal. So let me share some screens with you. So some of you may have seen this property already in one of our episodes previously. If you have, go and watch the inside video of it. If you haven't, then this gives you just the outline of what the property is. Look, with Uplift properties, a lot of the times we don't really have a lot of the videos or the footages because a lot of the things we have to see on site. Well, I believe that with every Uplift property, you really have to site it. So I'll just share with you this property. So this is a new development. So this is what I would call Uplift 101. So new development where you're going to go through and you're going to buy a vacant lot of property that is in a great location, great access in terms of trucks, parking, tenant, and also to all of the future sort of motorways and everything else. So this property was settled earlier this year. So it was settled earlier this year. It already has a tenant, and the tenant's already, after probably about 3 months, we got a tenant in there. There's a couple of tenants that weren't willing to pay the price point in terms of the rent, but we managed to get the right tenant. And then so you can see that it's a small development complex, 19 tilt slab warehouse office space panels properties. So this is one of the properties that we got, was that it's in Pinkenba. It's just about on the other side of the airport, about 6 km out of the Brisbane airport. So it's a great location, an industrial hub, warehouse, office upstairs. So very straightforward. You can see the way the sort of roller door straight in. Come in through the entrance foyer, go straight upstairs. You've got open plan upstairs. Some of them have a balcony, some of them don't. And these are sort of the list of sort of options for properties at the time. Now they're all sold. So it was released in 2020, and basically beginning of this year, everything was sold on this property. So this is the property itself. But I want to share with you how, if you were looking at the numbers, how something like that would work as well. Because it's important that when you're looking at the numbers, that you understand what exactly is it that you are going to be offering. And if you don't know what you're going to be offering, then it makes it a little bit harder as well. So let me just share that with you. Just grabbing the drive here. Oh, here we go. Here is the numbers here. Look, the numbers can be a bit confusing, but the way that we would look at it is a couple of things. Firstly, where's the yield going to compress to, right? So we got a purchase price, we've got all the funds in, we've got the stamp duty, we've got buyer's agency fees, we've got, this is a vacant property, so there's a loan on it on a 6%, on a 70% LVR, basically based on the actual loan, on the actual property itself. So we want to work out what that 6% is. I mean, it's higher. At the moment, it's not quite 6%, but we always work on a conservative. That's how much we're borrowing. It's incentives for rent-free, agents' fees, and any of the outgoings that we need to estimate, right? We'll look at selling at a cap rate of 5.75, selling agents' fees, your profit, your rent, everything else. So what we look at here is that after sort of refinance, and sort of your profits, what it's going to be. But the main thing is this thing here that I will, I think I'll fill with color here, is that we look at, this is the buy, and then this is what you could sell at the different rates, right? That's the most important thing. So that's what it's the most important thing here, is that you look at that sell rate, right? So we take in all the expenses and we look at what the sell rate is. And at the moment, right now, in around that Brisbane area, you're actually looking at that price point based on the previous sales, right? That's what it is. Right, so 5.5, so 1.15 million. Remember, you bought in at, we bought in here. If we take that back, we bought in here at 852,000. Yes, there's some costs in, so we've got some cost in there. Let's just say that, you know, by the time you finish with everything, and look, there's literally nothing to do in terms of refurbishment. It's a brand new property. So tenant in, tenant incentives, they do give the tenant really heavily incentives. So we allow for 3 months, but you know, you can allow for 6 months as well. And so after all of that, you got to look at, okay, so that's probably our costs there. But let's just say that, you know, you're in it at, let's say, 950. So you're here, there's about 200 grand there to be made. Let's say you're in at 950 in terms of the total purchase price plus any outlays in terms of buyer's agent commissions, commissions for sales, commission for leasing, tenant incentives. Let's say you're at 950 rough figures. There's about 200 grand to be made there. Now, obviously, when you sort of sell, if you sell after a year, you get the capital gains tax discount, and then you work out how the structure is going to flow through. But, you know, you could make if you made 200 grand there, but at 900,000, you would have probably put in somewhere around 400K. And if you pulled out 200,000, you've made 50%, right? The metrics is normally about 30%. I like to aim for a commercial property, but that's pretty good for a set and forget. And how you would do that is you take your 200K and you work out how, and you would split that up, right? So you would do this feasibility with the property. You give the joint venture partner, the IAM, you look at any of your marketing strategies, anything that's proposal from the agent, plus this spreadsheet, and then show them if we're selling and working on a conservative level. So I wouldn't work on 5.5, but obviously the market's at 5.5 now, but let's say we work at 5.75. I said there's $150,000 to be made, right? If you're not sure whether you're going to be a year to make it, or whether you're going to be 6 months to do it, I would be looking at getting it as a profit share. But let's say we're not doing a profit share. Let's say that we are going to do something that is, let's say that it's, what we'll do is we'll say that we're going to give them just interest on their money. So let's say we're going to get their 400K coming in as a deposit, and we'll borrow, right? We'll borrow the rest of it and take on the debt. The 400K will give them 10% return, and they'll get the money in 12 months. And we know we can tenant it, uplift the property, and sell it, right? So if that's the case, then we know that out of that 150,000 we're going to make, we're going to give the investor $40,000, right? We give them $40,000. So then out of that 150, we get to keep 110, right? So that's pretty good for a year's work of really not doing much. And we'll probably put some legal expenses, some fees and stuff like that. Not as much running around, maybe some travel costs in there. Have a look at the property. So, and liaising with the investor, but all in all, $110,000 made on this property. You could do it again. You could do 2 or 3 of this running a year, make 300 grand easily, right? If you do a profit share, then obviously, if you're not sure of the timing of the project, you want to do a profit share. So profit share might end up being 50-50 or 60-40, depending on how your investors want it. But 60-40, 50-50, and what you want to do is then you want to say something like this. You put in the 400K. When we sell it, the 150 was split at 50-50. So you get 75,000, they get 75,000. For them, that's like almost an 18% return on their money in 1 year. They want to do it again with you straight away. So that's why that's the type of property you do as a joint venture. The other type of property you're doing, I would suggest, is a vacant, putting a tenant in there, splitting it up. There's some costs with renovations. It's an older property, renovations, divvying it up, leasing, legal fees, and all of those things. A little bit more time I guess it's a little bit more of a time intensive for you, but the turnaround time is faster. It's probably a 6 months turnaround time, so you could be in and out. And what I would suggest is find an investor that could buy this property out in cash. So this property itself was an off-market deal, so I don't actually have a lot of photos for you, but I do have a video. If you look through my old videos, there is a video on this property, which is 12 Prescott Street in Toowoomba. There is a video of the inspection, so if you want, you can go have a look at that video. So, but I'll just quickly show you what's on sort of Google of this property, so you can get to see what that is. So you can see on Google, so this is what the property actually looks like, right? It's got the front part of it. So this is one part of it, the property. This is the side property. This is sort of a complex. So this is the side. You can look from, it is a homemaker center as such, because it's got a lot of this is a slightly older photo. A lot of the tenants have moved out, got new tenants coming in there. But essentially, this is what this looks like. It's got, some of the tenants are still there, and the lighting tenants are still there. The E-Storm has moved. The Norris was there until COVID and has moved. Rewards Hospitality was there, but they've also moved somewhere else. But look, they've got a change of tenant, but it's very, very solid type of property. And what you're getting is ground floor retail. Upstairs, you might have an upstairs section. Some of them have upstairs, some of them don't. And then also warehousing at the back as well. So lots of different photos of the property. So that's essentially what the property is, right? And I'm going to share with you this layout of the property, because I want to share with you what we're looking at in terms of the layout of how the property was laid out, and why it was too big right in the beginning, and that's why we decided that we're going to split it up. So when we looked at this property here, if you look at that, it is actually a very large tenancy. Very, very large tenancy, and it wouldn't quite work for everyone else. So at the back of tenancy, so you've got tenancy 7A. That's the part where it's glass front, right? So you've got glass front, that's the sliding door coming into the property, and that is the street front or the parking area, right? And one of the things we love about it is that it's got straight pull-up parking, which everyone in Queensland loves. So this property is in Toowoomba, and it's into the complex. Into the complex, we've got the back section here. There's an entranceway here, and then there's an entranceway to 7C as well. Behind 7B is roller doors or warehousing. It's not high clearance, but low clearance, but still people can put, definitely trucks and pull up at the back and unload as well. So you need a destination tenant at the back, or someone who can distribute out of a warehouse, which of course there's lots of tenants for. 7C needs someone who just needs a 1 or 2 man band in terms of an office space, and 7A is your ground floor office space. They're all office spaces, but it's about divvying it up. It's more your retail space. So you might have someone who even wants to do food there. A dentist would be great. Allied health. So any of your physios, chiros, and any of your things, travel or training is good. So once we've sort of divvied it up into this property, I mean, you can also divvy it up fully across there without creating a kitchenette. Well, we created a kitchenette back of 7A, and then 7B was that have that kind of layout. You could have just come straight across, created a kitchenette internally, but this sort of just turned out this way after we sort of consulted the right people to get sort of the right layout, and the potential tenants as well. So the way that it's configured, we've got 3 tenancies now, and the rent's going to be sitting somewhere around $39,000 to $40,000 net rent, plus, obviously plus outgoings on top of that, plus, increases. Now, when we first started, the agent quoted around there, but of course, with all Uplift properties, you've got to make sure that whatever they quote is correct, and that's part of the due diligence process. So now that we're getting pretty soon, in about the next month, so the property was settled about 3 months ago. There's been extensive works done, so all the gyprocking, new carpet, new paint, new air conditioning has come in. Some of the stuff at the back, the 7B tenants are doing themselves in terms of their fit out and the air conditioning as well. But the little office spaces and the one at the front you've done yourself. So there's probably about 10% of the purchase cost spent on this property. So it was a $425,000 purchase, probably around $30,000 to $40,000 spent on the property, including some advertising fees as well. Of course, we've got some the agents' listings, leasing fees and stuff on top of that. And then finally, what we're going to find here is that we've got this property now with $39,000 to $40,000 in net rent. We've bought it for $425,000, so it's over a 9% yield, which you can't really find in this market, and everything in Toowoomba is 6%. So if you take that $40,000 in net rent and look at and apply 6% yield, it's really about 600 and I think it's about 650,000. So let's just do the maths, right? So $40,000, divide that by 6 as in being a 6%, times that by 100, it's 666,000. So we rounded out down to about $650,000. Now you've made buying in a 625, 620,000, 225,000 out of this property. You can definitely refinance, and 425,000 you would get an investor in there just to buy this property with cash, right? So there's obviously stamp duty and everything else. So let's say that, you know, you probably, or in all, this probably might have cost you around, say, 500 to 510 in terms of all the in costs, in terms of uplift, agency fees, stamp duty, everything. So 510, 520, you now at 650. So it's about definitely $150,000, $150,000 to be made. That's probably made within a 6-month period. Now, if you get an investor in, you can do a profit share, or if you do like a 10% or a 12% interest on something that's 500,000, you're giving someone 50,000, you're keeping the other 100. Pretty happy, right? So why not, right? Why not do that on the side? And, you know, you can churn that around and you can probably do 2 or 3 of this at the same time. Again, a lot of reliance was on the agent. There was a lot more meetings, a lot more going there. Of course, that's all your cost as well. But if you're having no cost down for this, to do this, like no money down deal for this, this is definitely something that an investor will be in. And also it's low level as well. Under 1 million, very, very popular buying vacant properties for investors. If you know what you're looking for, right, you can literally find those investors anyway. So go to your networking groups, go to your other educational coaching groups, join meetups, find those investors who are willing to move forward, put the plan together, offer them the plan, and why not, right? You keep going, right? So you just do deal after deal after deal, and it can literally be your full-time job, right? If I was in another life, wasn't teaching, helping people to find properties, I definitely do this. It is something that you can literally, once you get the metrics right and you know exactly what you're looking for, there's plenty of investors out there who want to be armchair investors in commercial property, but you really have to understand how the local area works, how the yield and the compression and what is most prized and what is most sought after in that area, but also understand how you can create the multiple effects in commercial property. That is why you join us. That is why you come to Unicorn Commercial Property, why you seek out Helen Tarrant, why we help you to build out your portfolio and look at these strategies. So for all of our clients who've joined us, some of them will do this deal as their first deal, some of them will do this deal as their second deal or their third deal. The thing is, if you want to start doing uplift deals or no money down deals, start with property 101 in commercial uplift, right? Don't try to do a development. Don't try to do an extension. Don't try to go and build a mezzanine floor, go through all the compliance stuff. Don't then try to do a courtyard. Don't try to refurbish a pub. Don't try to redo a childcare center or redo an NDIS center. Don't try to do all of those things new. You look at things that are already in place and how you can tweak it just a little bit, right? If you've already got the layout for resi commercial and you can, turn it into an NDIS post, that's great. If you've got an area that's a warehouse with retail, you can split it in 2. That's fantastic. But you don't want to be building another warehouse. You don't want to be saying, hey, I'm going to come in and change the entire layout of it, because that is expense that you can't control, and you can't control what kind of tenant is going to come in, and that is going to ruin, potentially your investor confidence in you. So don't bite off more than you can chew. Start with 101 if you're doing uplift and if you're getting an investor in. Now, we can help you with all of that, help you with putting a joint venture agreement together, help you with ironing out, what your investors want, what you want, really build out the presentation. And it is a program that we can actually show you how to walk you through it. So if this is something you're interested in, by all means, reach out to us, helentarrant.com, unicorn.com.au. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you achieve financial freedom through commercial property. But in the meantime, if this has been helpful, leave us a comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.